Hi guys, and welcome to Crypto Exposed. Okay guys, I've got an article here that says XRP Ledger leads tokenized asset race with 1.9 billion in RWA inflows, outpacing Ethereum. How the tides are turning. So this is really obviously great to see, and for me what this tells me is something that I've been saying for a while now, but for the guys who obviously don't watch me regularly, is that basically, you know, when it comes to Ethereum, my personal opinion is this with Ethereum. Now, I still give respect to Ethereum in the sense of it was innovative. It was the first cryptocurrency that had smart contracts enabled. So it was the first of its kind in that regard. So it was definitely, you know, it's definitely one of the cryptos that led us into, you know, a new generation in terms of what we can do with cryptocurrency, right? But just like Bitcoin, whenever you get a crypto that's the first of its kind, you've got to understand that it's going to be the worst in the end because it is the first of its kind. So obviously what you do from that is you build on it, you work on it, you upgrade it, right? You make better versions of it. So, you know, when you think about, let's just say, for example, the very first mobile phone that ever existed, well, that was never going to be the best mobile phone, right? Like it was never going to stand the test of time and still be here along with phones like, you know, the iPhone that we've got now and Android phones, because look at how much they've developed since then, right? All the things that have been added onto these phones now. So, of course, that's the way it is. So, for me, when I look at this, what this tells me is that XRP is, you know, for me, in my opinion, I think it's coming for that number 2 spot. And I've said it before, like when it does come to Ethereum, I think its days are numbered in terms of it being a top 2 cryptocurrency. Now, I could be wrong. This is my own speculation, but I'll explain why. So, when it comes to Ethereum, first and foremost, for anybody who followed the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit, we know that there was foul play involved with Ethereum. They were playing dirty tactics to try and get Ripple and XRP basically impacted. Like they was trying to get these so that they were getting preferential treatment basically, and XRP actually getting attacked on Ripple. So we already know that they were playing very dirty to get to where they are. We know that's already happened because that came out in the lawsuit. But also, you know, when it's all said and done, you know, Ethereum's here because it basically had first mover advantage, right? It was like the first of its kind, as I say. So it had that opportunity to build up a lot of a customer base and whatnot, and, you know, a lot of liquidity in the network and whatnot. But you've got to understand that when it's all said and done, Ethereum, compared to a lot of other networks at this point that can do a lot of the things that Ethereum can do, it's not that great, right? Like the gas fee straight away is a huge problem. It can't scale as good, you know, it has a lot of problems with congestion, you know, transactions failing and that kind of thing. So there's a lot of issues with Ethereum that really do need to be, you know, ironed out, which this is the thing for me. It's like, yes, they can improve on them, but why would you stick around with that when you can just pick a network that can do a lot of things better anyway, right? Why wait for these things that need to be dealt with when you could just go to a network that has them already natively, right? And so I feel like with XRP, I do think eventually it will overtake Ethereum in my personal opinion. I think that's just a matter of time. And that's because XRP is just a faster, cheaper network. Right now, don't get me wrong, when it comes to certain things like smart contracts, obviously smart contracts is not something that's really on the XRP ledger in that regard. Like just natively, it's something that they're looking to potentially implement. But as I covered recently, Flare are looking to make XRP DeFi enabled, right? So if you change your XRP to FXRP, you then get open doors to, you know, smart contracts. So it's not like XRP can't get smart contract enabled. It's definitely a possibility. Plus, it is 2 different avenues anyway, right? But yes, I do think this is basically showing you that when we are now looking at these types of use cases like RWA, they're looking to pick the better network. So let's quickly go into this. We've got a quick chart here. So it says where the money flowed. So top chains by net RWA inflows over the last 90 days, excluding stablecoin. So first, topping it off is the XRP ledger with 1.9 billion inflows. Then you've got Ethereum with 1.6 billion, Stellar with 1.4 billion, BNB chain with 848 million, Solana with 611 million, Avalanche with 362 million, SEI with 202 million, and Mantle with 90 million. So there you go. You've got XRP, you know, a clear victor in that regard. And so this is what I mean. Like, you got to remember when it comes to RWA, like RWA wasn't something that XRP was really being focused on at the time because they were really trying to push for the whole cross-border payment angle when it comes to XRP. So RWAs wasn't something that, the network was really being focused on for that type of use case up until recently. And this is where they've kind of started to say, okay, let's not just kind of focus on just cross-border payments. Let's just see where other avenues we can look to try and expand XRP's utility and really push for those other areas. And as you can see, look how quick that's turned around to XRP being the top network for inflows of RWA. That just shows you straight away where XRP can go. So to me, this is what's showing you the potential. And so, yes, Ethereum is still, I don't know if it's going to completely be made obsolete kind of thing, but I wouldn't be surprised, because at the end of the day, when there's so many other networks out there that can do what Ethereum can do, but better, faster and cheaper, then it wouldn't be a shock, right? It wouldn't really be that surprising. So in my opinion, with Ethereum, it'll always have its place as one of the OG cryptos, kind of like Bitcoin. But when you look at Bitcoin, what can it do? You can't really do anything unless you put a layer 2 on it. And again, why do that when you can just go to a layer 1 network that can do all that natively? So again, this is why I think Bitcoin and Ethereum, I do think they'll have their day where, yes, they'll probably still be around or maybe still remembered, but I don't know if they'll be as heavily adopted, I mean, maybe Bitcoin, because it is people are treating it like digital gold, so maybe Bitcoin will always have its place. And again, maybe Ethereum will have its place to a certain degree, but I just think when it comes to the institutions coming in, for example, when you've got the Clarity Act passed and that kind of thing, I just think when you start to use these networks and you start seeing what other options are out there, that's when I just think they're going to go to, the other networks. Realistically, the main reason why they go to Ethereum is just because it's the top 2 cryptocurrency, right? It's number 2. It's got a lot of liquidity. It's got a big community. I think that's really what it is. I don't think it's at all for its actual, technical attributes, because it's not good in that regard. There's much better chains out there. So, with the XRP ledger, it has all these great attributes that you would want for these types of use cases, much better than Ethereum, and that's why it's beating Ethereum. So I think over time, as these companies continue to start to adopt the technology and start saying this isn't a great experience, what other networks are there out there that can do this stuff? That's when I'll start to, see what really better networks and choices there are out there. So yeah, that's just my thoughts, but yeah, this is definitely a great indicator. And with RWA being such a big thing, I think that's a real good thing for XRP in terms of showing you what its potential is. It's showing you for one of the bigger use cases when it comes to crypto, because I do think RWA is going to be one of the biggest use cases for crypto completely, in my opinion. So for XRP to be leading the charge, that definitely, it speaks volumes in my opinion. So real great stuff to see here, and once again showing you that the XRP ledger, it's top in the charts, it's doing well. So the demand is there and the demand is real. I'll leave it at that. If you did like this video, please remember to like, comment and subscribe so you can be updated for future XRP content. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you can be alerted on when I do drop a new video. Thank you very much for watching this, and I'll see you all on the next one.